Good morning, sixth grade. I'm going to go ahead and go through our story that we just finished from last week, Romulus and Remus, to tell you what will be on your quiz. Your quiz will be tomorrow on Tuesday. It will be 10 multiple choice questions, so it should be pretty easy. You can use this review on it, and I'll also post a PDF review as well. And make sure you guys are using the reviews on the quiz. You can also read the story and use that to find the answers as well. A lot of students, I think, are not doing that. And, you guys, if it's an open book, open review quiz, you guys should be doing really well on them. So take your time, use the reviews I post. Okay, so the story of Romulus and Remus. Well, the first thing that we need to remember for the quiz is that the parents of these two boys are Rhea, she was a priestess, and Mars, the god of war. We're going to talk a little bit later about how being that their dad was the god of war definitely affects, how they are. So Rhea and Mars are their parents. Shortly after they are born, their mother is killed, and Mars kind of leaves, and the boys are left, as babies, very vulnerable. They are put into in a basket into the Tiber River, and they kind of float down the river, but they do survive, and they end up being adopted by a wolf. So this picture is actually going to be on your quiz. So this is a mosaic. A mosaic is a picture made out of tiny tiles. They put the tiles together to make different shapes and everything. So this picture is actually a question on your quiz. So this mosaic adds to the story because it kind of helps us to understand that Romulus and Remus, they're right here. It's kind of hard to see, but it helps us to understand that they were picked up by the wolf and raised initially by a wolf. So the third page has a lot of information on it that will be on the quiz. So as we know, Romulus and Remus are raised by a wolf. She brings them back to her lair, kind of raises them just like they would be, wolf babies. And then also, another thing I want you guys to know for the quiz is that woodpeckers are also sacred creatures to Mars. So wolves and woodpeckers are creatures that are associated with Mars. I didn't know about the woodpecker, so I learned something new too. So Romulus and Remus, they're being raised by the wolf. Eventually, though, they are found by a herdsman. So the herdsman's out hunting, looking for these wolves that are threatening his livestock. And he finds these two baby boys in the den. And he decides to take them in. He and his wife have no children of their own. And he decides to bring these boys home and raise them as his own. Now, he knew who the babies were and that it was risky to bring them home, but he decided to do it anyways because he really loves the boys and they bring him a lot of joy. So as the boys are growing up, we kind of learn that they do grow into brave but very quarrelsome boys. So quarrelsome means that they fight a lot. When you quarrel with somebody, you're fighting. Okay, so they do grow up and they fight all the time. Now, as you guys who have siblings know, siblings do fight. But Romulus and Remus fight about everything. So they decide that they're going to build this city. And they fight about what they're going to call it. Then they fight about where they're going to build it. Then they fight about how to build it and what the walls should look like. So they're really just fighting about pretty much anything they can when it comes to building this city. They are fighting so much so that eventually their fighting turns to full-out hate. So Romulus and Remus are fighting about how to build this city. And Remus is really making fun of Romulus about his walls and, saying like, I've seen pigsties that look better than this, jumping around the wall, kicking down the stones. And Romulus really starts to get annoyed with him. And this is where their relationship shifts. They're not just fighting and, bickering with each other. Now they're going to like full-blown intense hatred for each other. So much so that eventually Romulus does kill his brother. And Romulus kills Remus. And immediately we see a change in Remus because he cries. And this is the first time in the story that we see any of these two boys cry, besides like when they were little babies, because he really regrets killing his brother. And he is sad that he, did this horrible thing and killed his brother. And then there is one question from our end of the story questions here, number 3. So why do Romulus and Remus behave the way that they do? Well, they really behave the way that they do because their dad's the god of war. Okay, that's pretty aggressive. So the reason why they fight so much and eventually Romulus kills his brother is because their dad is the god of war. In order to be the god of war, you have to be pretty aggressive. So that probably explains why they kind of act the way that they do. So that is everything that you need for your quiz tomorrow. So don't forget to watch. I hope you guys are watching these videos that I'm making. Don't forget to use the review that I post as well. You can also use the PDF and take your time on it. It's 10 multiple choice questions. If you have any questions about the quiz, please email me. I hope you guys are well.